There are things you learn in school, and then there are things you can only learn after you've been doing this for a while. After you've treated the patients, built the schedule, made the mistakes, hired people, had difficult conversations, avoided difficult conversations, stayed late, taken work home, wondered whether you're doing enough, wondered whether you're doing too much, and tried to figure out how something you love so much can sometimes become something that takes so much out of you. There are things that I believed about being a practitioner when I started that I don't believe anymore. And there are things about business and leadership today that I don't think anyone could have taught me in a classroom. I had to live them. So today I want to share some of the things I know for sure after years behind the healing table. So with that being said, welcome to Behind the Healing Table, where we have the conversations I wish someone had with me earlier about business, leadership, burnout, and building a practice that supports your life instead of consuming it, and why some good healers struggle. So number one, you cannot build a sustainable practice around your own exhaustion. Let's talk about this, because I think practitioners are incredibly good at functioning while tired. I know that's something I still catch myself doing. We can carry a lot. Patients need us, so we show up. The business needs us, so we figure it out. Someone calls out, we cover. Something needs to happen after hours, we handle it. And because we're capable of doing it, we start believing that means the business is working. But I've learned that there is a difference between something working and something being sustainable. If the practice only functions because you're constantly overextending yourself, that's information. And look, I'm not judging. I just want to support holistic healers however I can because of the struggles that I have experienced along the way in my career. And if I can keep you from going through the same things, that's amazing. So your exhaustion may be compensating for something that the business hasn't built yet. Maybe it's a system. Maybe it's staffing. Maybe it's a boundary. Maybe it's communication. And we'll have to talk about that in another video because these are all very important points. Maybe it's pricing, maybe it's delegation. Being able to carry something doesn't automatically mean you should keep carrying it. And I get it, there is a work season, but at some point we have to start delegating. Now, number two, being needed is not the same thing as being valuable. This one is difficult, especially for healers. Being needed feels meaningful. A patient asks specifically for you. An employee says, I need Ava. There's a problem and everyone knows you can fix it. That can feel like proof of your value. But eventually I had to understand if my value requires everyone to remain dependent on me, I haven't created freedom for anyone, including myself. Leadership asks you to become valuable in a different way. Can you teach? Can you develop someone? Can you create clarity? Can you build a system? Can you make someone else more confident? Can you create something that works even when you're not standing in the middle of it? That's value too. Number three, your team cannot read your mind. I wish every practitioner opening a business understood this. There are so many things that feel obvious to you because they're living inside your head. You know how you want patients greeted. You know what excellent follow-up looks like. You know when something should be escalated. You know how you want a room prepared. You know what good communication means, and that can be subjective. But then somebody doesn't do it, and you're frustrated. How do they not know this? Maybe because we never actually told them. An expectation that has never been communicated isn't really an expectation. It's a hope. And honestly, after a certain period of time, you just don't have time for hoping. I've learned that leadership requires saying things clearly that I used to assume people should just know or understand. Number four, systems don't make care less professional. I think practitioners sometimes resist systems, and I certainly did, because we're afraid they'll make the practice feel corporate. It loses that small town feel, whatever the thing is. I understand that. I never want healing to become transactional, but I've also learned that good systems can actually protect the humanity of the work. A good system makes sure someone follows up. A good system prevents things from being forgotten. A good system helps a team member know what to do. A good system creates consistency. A good system removes unnecessary chaos so that you have more energy available for the part that actually needs your humanity. Systems aren't the opposite of care. Good systems create space for care. Now, number 5, not every patient is your patient. I really wish practitioners understood this earlier, myself included. You do not have to be the right practitioner for everybody. Some people will connect deeply with you. Some won't. Some patients will love your communication style. Another patient may need someone completely different. That doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. One of the most exhausting things we can do is try to become everything for everybody. You don't need every patient. You need alignment. And when you have multiple practitioners, this becomes even more important. Someone may connect better with the person you've trained, and that's okay. Actually, that's more than okay. That's what we were trying to build. Number 6, growth exposes what you've avoided. This is something I think we misunderstand about growth. We imagine growth will solve problems, and sometimes it does, but growth also magnifies problems. If communication is unclear with 3 people, imagine it with 10. If your schedule barely works now, adding more patients doesn't necessarily fix it. It's kind of like what Alex Hormozy says. If you add things to a messed up system, it's just going to be an even bigger mess. If everything requires your approval, more employees create more approvals. If your boundaries are weak, more demand creates more opportunities for those boundaries to be crossed. Growth doesn't just create opportunity. Growth creates pressure, and pressure reveals weak points. I've learned to pay attention when growth makes something harder. Instead of immediately asking, how do I handle more? I try to ask, what is this showing me that needs to change? Okay, number 7, you have to let other people become capable. We talked about this last week, but I think it's one of the biggest lessons in leadership. If you're building something bigger than yourself, you cannot remain the only capable person. You have to teach people. You have to let them practice. You have to allow them to solve problems. You have to give them enough room to develop judgment. And yes, sometimes they're going to do something differently than you would. Sometimes they're going to make mistakes. That's part of development. We're not perfect either. We also still make mistakes. The goal isn't to create smaller versions of yourself. The goal is to help people become excellent versions of themselves while protecting the standards and values of what you're building. Number 8, there is a patient for every practitioner. This is one of the things I believe most strongly. There is a patient for every practitioner. I don't need to compete with every other practitioner. We all have different versions of how we feel we should treat. I don't need every patient to choose me. I don't need another practitioner's success to mean something about my own. We all bring something different to the table. Different experiences, different personalities, different strengths, different ways of seeing people. And there are patients who need those differences. I think when we really believe that, we lead differently. We collaborate differently. We mentor differently. We stop holding so tightly to the idea that opportunity is scarce. What I know now, if I had to put all of these lessons into one idea, it would probably be this. Building a sustainable practice isn't about becoming capable of carrying more. It's about becoming wiser about what you carry? Comment below and let me know if that resonates with you. Where are you carrying too much? What only you can do? What someone else could learn? What needs a system? What needs a boundary, a conversation? What needs to be released? And what deserves your energy? I still want to help. I still care deeply. I still want patients to have an incredible experience. But I've learned that caring deeply doesn't require personally carrying everything. And maybe that's one of the biggest changes that happens as we grow. At first, success looks like, look what I can do. Eventually, leadership starts asking, look what we can build. That's a completely different identity. And if you're somewhere in that transition right now, I want you to think about this. What do you know today that the practitioner who opened your practice didn't know yet? Because sometimes we spend so much time looking at everything we still need to figure out that we don't recognize how much experience has already taught us. And those lessons matter. They're part of what you're supposed to carry forward, not just for yourself, for the people you're leading, for the practitioners you're developing, for the patients you're serving, and for whatever you're building next. I hope this resonated with you. Please like, subscribe, and don't forget to comment below. And until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep building a practice that supports you as much as you support your patients.